reconvene to find out whether or not in the Crumbley case there will be a rebuttal, or we'll jump right to closing arguments. Good point to go back into some of the defendant's testimony. This relates to a very important time period at or about the day of and the hours before the shooting. This is Jennifer Crumbley on direct examination talking about her texts with the shooter that day. There we go.
That was the time where you heard there was an open shooter. The jury's already heard how you heard about that, okay? And we know you got in your car and you drove up to Oxford, right?
Correct.
Okay. We heard about the description of that caravan. Did you see that caravan?
Yeah, I joined it. It's a black SUV, and that was my fastest way to get to the school.
Okay, so you actually were a part of that with all the law enforcement officers all headed up.
Yep, I just kind of jumped in.
What is that, Lapeer Road?
It started on 75. I work at Square Lake and Telegraph, so I got on 75 from Square Lake there. And it was well before the M24 exit. I would say about a quarter of a mile. The track was backed up.
Okay. Now, you sent a text, and if you need to see it, let me know. You sent a text to your son that says, "You can talk to us." Why did you send him that?
After I left the meeting, I knew that he was sad about things, and I just wanted to let him know that he can talk to us about anything. Just wanted to make sure I opened that door. Just let him know that we're there for him and we love him.
Okay, and he said he loved you. Do you recall that?
I do.
Okay, was there anything unusual about that?
Yeah, he's at that age where it was hard to get I love yous back out of him. For me to open my text and just see him randomly saying I love you was abnormal for him.
Okay, did you think anything at that point?
No, not right at that point. I think I said text back, I love you too. I don't remember. I believe I did. Yeah.
Okay. And later in the thread, you say, don't do it. So when you hear there's an open shooter at the school, I want to know in your mind, what do you believe is happening?
Well, my husband had called me when I was still at work, and he said there's an active shooter at Oxford High School and I can't get a hold of Ethan. And that's when I opened my phone and I saw the I love you text. And then I texted him, are you okay? In the process of it, I was getting my stuff and running out the door, letting my boss know that I had to go to my son's school. It was on 75 when I was trying to get to the exit that my husband called me and he asked me where I hid the bullets, and I told him, and then he said the gun is missing. So instantly, I'm like, oh my gosh, he's got the gun. I didn't actually think he was at the school shooting it. I thought maybe he walked home and got the gun and was in the field by the school. I didn't imagine my son actually going into a school and shooting. And then when we got more updates, I was like, oh my gosh, he's a school shooter. He's going to kill himself, because in my mind, that's what school shooters have done. They've killed themselves after. So I yelled in my talk to text, Ethan, don't do it, because I thought he was going to kill himself.
To me, this is so important. This is such a pivotal part of what this parent was doing, should have been doing, what the jury's going to interpret those actions as. I'm telling you, Katherine, Philip, let's talk about this what I call parent denial. Philip, no matter what you're doing with your kid, no matter where they are in their growth, you always think the best of them. You're the parent. So when Jennifer Crumbley is hearing about the shooting, knowing she's had the interaction with her son that she's had, knowing they just got him a gun more recently that he does use it, she's still in her mind not thinking that he has anything to do with this, Philip.
I can buy that. Again, I hate to continue to potentially come across biased, but I can buy that. You're thinking at that point primarily about your own child's safety, right? And then frankly, think about it. Even when she got the inference and started to put it together that, oh my gosh, he might be the shooter because the gun's missing, right? There's still that part of her that's just like, don't do it in regards to hurting yourself, killing yourself, not thinking that he actually would be shooting and killing classmates, right? So, I think from the perspective, I love the clarification she provided. It was a little one, but it rings big, the talk to text, right? Because a lot of the connotation, a lot of the tone, a lot of the emotion, especially when we've spoken earlier about maybe her lack thereof, right, with respect to her testimony. At least she's saying, I'm yelling into the phone, don't do it, don't hurt yourself, but not necessarily thinking, or that she should have known, that he's actually killing his own classmates. You know what I mean? So yeah, you're absolutely right. Parents, we always want to think the best of our kids, even if we know who they are, right? That doesn't necessarily translate into her thinking that he would be killing classmates and killing.
Right. Well, why, I mean, how could any parent think that?
Right.
You know. So, Katherine, when we hear about this meeting, to me that is another pivotal point in the testimony, in the timeline. Parents have the meeting, certain issues are brought to their attention, and then it sounds like, didn't do much about it. How important is that sequence of events going to be for this jury?
I think it's very pivotal. That's exactly what I have in mind too. I want to know more about that meeting, that interaction. What exactly were you thinking during that meeting and after that meeting? Because clearly she had a feeling of texting Ethan back after leaving him in the school after the meeting and saying, Ethan, you can talk to us. So there is something in her that said, I need to address this more. The question is, why did she not take him home at that time, or why did she not address it at that time, then and there? Of course, right now we're all playing hindsight here, and she should have taken him home. But what exactly transpired at that meeting in terms of her saying, I don't want to take him home because I have work, if that's something we've heard, or is it because when she said that, the counselor said, okay, that's fine, we'll just go ahead and help him out. So we need
Katherine,
more.
you mentioned something so important, and that is the hindsight that we all bring to this story, you know, but to put yourself where you might be when this parent was in this situation, it's a different story. Hey, I've got to thank and excuse Philip. Philip, good to have you in the studio here. Philip Hamilton. Katherine Lizardo will be back. I'm Michael Bryant. This is Law and Crime. Stay where you are. Coming right back.